Aloha, and welcome to another Kevin Samuels clip. This says men are trash, or these men are trash. Let's see what they're talking about.
Well, I've been watching you for a while, and I just want to say that tonight is the first time that I actually agree with you.
First
This
time.
topic is really good. I just think the modern day women, or women in general today, they want the wedding, but they don't want the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So, marriage is a big deal. I'm divorced. I've been divorced for a few years. So I know what it takes to be a wife. My parents, they've been married for 45 years.
If you know what it takes to be a wife, why are you divorced?
So
Okay.
I grew
Especially if your parents are married for 45 years. You saw the example, right?
up, seeing the role of a wife.
How old are you?
I'm 40.
So your parents are 45, married 45. Okay. So I'm
Yeah.
51. We're both Generation X.
Right.
Every other generation before us were married that long.
Mm-hmm.
Why
Yeah.
did we fail so much?
I just think we give up. We give up quickly, and also we
Well, giving up would be not having what it takes to be a wife, right?
we give up. We don't have the patience, the endurance, and
Who gives
women, women, and there's pros and cons to that, right? So women, we have a lot of options now. A lot of the things that our grandparents had to tolerate and deal with, we no longer have to. So, women are
What do you mean?
educated. Women are educated. They're going to school.
Hold on. What do you mean?
So a lot of times,
Hold on. We gotta talk one at a time. What are you saying your parents and your grandparents had to tolerate that you guys don't have to tolerate?
well, women back in the day, a lot of them didn't have options. They weren't educated. They didn't go to school. They were home, taking
Okay.
care of the families.
Again,
So-
what did you have to tolerate?
The cheating, the infidelity.
Let me stop you right here. Did you just see the previous caller?
I did.
The one before the last?
Yes, I did.
The one who in the black community, black men cheat at a rate of 28%. What rate do black women cheat at?
Well, we don't talk about those numbers. I don't.
Yeah, we do.
Really.
What do you think?
We don't talk about that.
Maybe 30%.
24, but there's more of you. Black women cheat too.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So the cheating is coming from who? See, here's what I'm trying to understand.
It is funny that women get so mad that men cheat, but then they cheat at the same rate. Like, why are you mad? You're doing it too.
I grew up watching things that I never saw.
Mm-hmm.
Waiting to Exhale, The Color Purple. I've been around a long time, and what I know more than anything else is, don't look in the comment section, we're talking. What I know more than anything else is women in our generation use Rosetta and Sojourner and women in the past who have made a much tougher stuff as a reason to say you're strong and independent, but you're not made of the same things. We don't quit, y'all quit. And it's not because you're being treated poorly.
Okay.
If 80% of divorces are filed in the black community by women, even if half of them are filed for the worst things, that means 4 out of 10 still aren't. It's
Well,
still twice as much. That 40% is still twice as many as men file.
yeah, but I think that's all based on perspective, and that's relative to the situation and the individuals involved. So
Stats cannot be based on perspective. Stats are stats. It's just what they are.
what one woman is willing to tolerate, another woman might not be.
You keep saying tolerate. What are you tolerating?
Mistreatment, or is so.
Huh.
I called to tell you I agreed with most of what you were saying tonight.
I know, but I get it. But the thing is, when you say something like that, man, you put it out into the air that women back in the day had to put up with stuff that we didn't have to put up with. We don't have to put up with that. And I'm asking, What are you talking about? Because all the
Okay,
stuff.
I can tell you. Let's talk about the abuse. A lot of women back in the day dealt with abuse, financial abuse, physical abuse, and the manipulation that all of that entails. When you
But how
don't,
many? But modern women. Okay, that you're talking that color purple Alice Walker stuff. I never witnessed any of this stuff. I'm sorry, ma'am. And when more women are finally coming out and saying that they, how many women do you? Let me just back it up because I don't want to get anecdotal. This is a bunch of propaganda. Generation X black women are not getting beat up and abused.
right. Okay, yes.
And
That
neither was
is,
silent era black women.
but the
And neither was
attempt is
generation,
made.
the greatest generation.
But you're not taking into consideration that men were completely different back then than they are now.
There was no abuse, ma'am. If you go back and look at when The Color Purple came out, it was a big uproar in this country because they said how much it was going to damage the family. Ma'am, I'm black. You're black. I didn't see women walking through the neighborhood with black eyes and shit looking like Ike and Tina.
Right.
This is
Where did you live? Where did you grow up?
Does it matter?
Yes,
Did
it
you
does.
see it?
It all depends.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it. It all depends on
Where
your
you
community.
from? Where'd you
and
grow
where-
up?
I'm from New York City. I'm from the Bronx. The Bronx, New
Exactly.
York.
And then in the Bronx,
So, you know-
you could hold on. In the Bronx, in the projects, you can't even have men living in there.
Well, but I'm 1980. There were men living in there. There were ways. There were rules that men could not live in there, but women
Let's
found
do
ways to get the men in there.
Let's do it.
But that's not what we're
They had rules that men couldn't live in there, but women found ways to have men live there, and then men was just beating their ass. What?
talking about,
No,
right?
what we're talking about, man, what we're talking about is you said that women in our generation did not put up with stuff other women put up with, and I call bullshit on that. Women in our generation were full of themselves. You counted as a double minority. You got Title IX and affirmative action put you in positions in corporate America that should have gone to black men as our results of civil rights. But when companies realized that they could get 2 for 1 with a black woman, black women got put in positions of power instead of black men. That was supposed to be part of our settlement. And what happened in the 90s? When sisters got those jobs, what did they do? They turned on black men. Sally Jesse Raphael, Donahue, Geraldo, Rolanda, Ricky Lake, Oprah.
Over time, it is crazy. You'll notice that black women do. It's almost like they don't like black men. They say they love us. They say they whatever and all this stuff, that we're all great and this and that. But man, they just totally dog us. Like we're these crazy dudes that just beat him and hate him and cheat on him and all this crazy stuff. But Kevin's really good at getting the whole story and getting to the man side too. So
this is when all this. Where all the good brothers at, because so many sisters have white collar corporate jobs and looking down on blue collar factory working men. I've talked about this. Dr. Tia Son Johnson teaches on this. Our women turned their backs on black men, and you created a story that none of y'all lived.
Okay, but listen, I'm not disagreeing with that, right?
well, that's pretty.
With that because
That's a big problem.
I'm all on the whole submission thing, the man is the head, all of that, right?
You
I'm
don't really
on
sound
that
like you
time.
are.
But black men do the same thing. As soon as they get into position of power, or they become famous, or they meet a certain financial plateau, they no longer look at black women.
That
They
is
go
not
to
true.
other ethnicities.
Are you out of your mind?
I'm not out of my mind. You don't like to be.
Hold on. Look, I deal with stats. Black men are married to black women at what rate?
I'm not dealing with rape. I'm dealing with facts of what I
No, I'm
feel,
dealing
what I
with
know.
rates. I'm dealing
Listen,
with.
you
No,
do
hold
the
on,
math.
hold on.
You
No,
have
no,
time
no,
to do
no,
the
no,
math.
no,
That's
no,
your
no.
profession.
No.
I'm dealing with
No, you're not gonna talk.
reality.
No. I'm dealing with statistics and facts. Black demographics.
So she's saying he can deal with facts and stats, but she don't have time for that. She's dealing with reality. What she's saying is she deals with what she sees, her own reality. Not stats and facts are what real reality is. It's when you include everybody else. That's actual reality. When you don't include everybody else and you only go by what you see, that's a very closed-minded view of things. It's not real reality. I guess you could call it your reality, but it's not going to include. But see, she's talking about people in general too, right? So you can't talk about people in general, but then use your reality to cover everybody.
No.
For that.
What rate when black men are married, what rate are they married to black women?
from what I was talking about in my perspective and what I see based on television,
It's
the
not in your
media, what
I'm
the
perspective.
media
basing it on
feeds us,
actual data.
because you have time for that, Kevin.
Well, then don't talk about it, ma'am.
I'm going to show
Exactly.
you what's prevalent and what is being
Then don't
forced and
talk. Well, what
thrown
I'm
to us.
saying, ma'am, man, your title is so author. And if you're going to talk about black men like this, if you're going to talk about black male image, I'm going to ask you that you be right on the facts. That's all I'm going to ask.
So you want
It
me to
would be
give
nice.
the complete
I want you when you can
data.
come. No, what I want you to do is what I want you to do is if you can come out talking about when black men get a position of power, then they do such and so forth. If you can say that, you better be able to back it up with the facts, data,
I
statistics,
can't. That's the
because they
general
don't back, because
conversation.
the facts don't back that up. Black men are married to a black woman at an 87% rate. Nobody is married
Right.
out like that.
But the men that you talk about, the high value men that you always speak about
Yes, man.
on your
It's this. And what rate do you think that is?
oh, Mister. Oh,
What
my
rate?
God,
No,
Mr.
tell me.
Kevin.
She's
No,
very animated in her face.
It's supposed to be a dialogue.
Don't. At what rate of high value men? Because what you're telling me, they marry out at a higher rate.
No, I'm saying that the high value men that you talk about on your show often,
Uh-huh.
once they are high valued, after most of the time the black woman has built them up, they shit upon them once they get to the top.
Yeah, you're a feminist.
I'm not a feminist. I am not a
But that's also not true either. A lot of black women won't get with black men while they're down and out to build them up. And then they get with those like hot boys, the drug dealers and all that when they're young, and they leave the nerdy black guys alone. And then when they get older and start making money, then they got a baby mama, or they are a baby mama, and they want the black guy to forget about it. I don't know if I did that show yesterday or not, but I watched one, I think it was yesterday, about women saying, oh, it wasn't a Kevin Samuels. Yeah, I'll see if I can put the clip in at the end. But the woman saying that exactly that. She was like, oh, well, we don't get with them like that, but they need to forget about it because I forget exactly what she said, but it's kind of crazy.
feminist.
I
Do not
need you to
disrespect me by
understand
calling me a
before
feminist.
you say
I am
that.
not
Before you say that, I don't need all the things you cannot support. What rate are men above six figures married out in the black community?
Okay, you know what? Let's give a rate. 80%. I'm gonna throw out a number because you're so
80%.
stuck on the rate. But I'm talking about real life conversations dealing with women.
Stop. No, stop. What audience? What I need
Real
you to
life
know,
conversations.
this
She doesn't
40-year-old black
understand
woman
stats.
came in and said the black men who are making six figures or more are married out at a rate of 80%. 80.
Oh no, not the six. I'm sorry. That was wrong. Let's say 60.
60. Not much better.
Okay. Well,
Right.
stop.
And you know what the international and where are you getting your data from?
See, you want to stick on data.
Because
It's
it
very
matters.
analytical. I know it
Because
does, but I'm
excuse me,
out
man.
here.
Hold on,
But
man. Are you a color
How do you
educated
talk
woman?
about things without using facts? Like if what if we were to talk about women and just say women are all stupid? Like where do you get those facts from? What are you saying? Why? How can you talk about something and you know you don't have facts about it?
Yes, I am.
So why don't you want to deal with facts, data, and statistics?
Because this is supposed to be like a talk show or a podcast,
but it still needs to be because
we're
it needs
having conversation.
because it needs to be rooted in fact.
Okay,
Why would it? I mean, I understand because it's a talk show, just don't take its word for word or whatever, or because it's on the internet, just don't believe that it's true. But you're just gonna get on the show and be like, I don't really care about facts because we're on a podcast. Why would you? Who would ever want to talk to you? If you don't, like, if you're talking to somebody and they're like, yeah, I don't care about facts, data, statistics, or anything, you couldn't talk to them about football. You couldn't talk to them about cooking. You couldn't talk to them about flowers. You couldn't talk to them about anything. If you don't care about facts, there's nothing we can talk about.
well, you're analytical that way, and that's how you run your show.
Well,
I'm coming in to give
what I don't do. What I don't do is I don't know what I don't do is allow people to come on and spout propaganda because that's part of the problem in the black community. Our image is jacked up because so many of our women decide to come in talking like you with, this is the same thing about black men being gay down low and in jail. 51% of black men are single and childless. 64% are in the middle class. Black men in this country are 2 million less than you, marriageable. Yet we are 847,000 more marriages than you. It ain't the problem with the men. The problem in our community is women like you.
You're totally wrong. Because
Wrong.
number one,
I will let
number
the
one,
audience decide.
number one, I am not a feminist. Number one. Number
Then
two,
you played one
no-
very well.
No, I am not. I am stating the conversations that are had between women of all ages. And we all agree. The majority of the women.
All the women agree. So if they're talking like this lady, who doesn't care about facts, stats, or statistics, and then she tells a 20-year-old lady, you don't need to care about facts, stats, or statistics, and she believes her, and then they grow up thinking that it doesn't matter. And when you're 30 and another's 40 and another 20, and you're all just talking babble about stuff that doesn't ring true to anybody. You're just gonna give your own opinions that aren't based on anything. And you got a whole bunch of ladies now. This is a problem. I don't know if this is just black women that do this, but any woman, any person, it could be a man. If you don't care about facts, stats, or statistics, you just need to not talk because you're not saying anything.
Women that talk about, that I have conversations with, that are educated, that are high valued women, this is the conversation. So I'm just basically sharing that. You ask these questions. Because
So
think about
hold on. So
well,
the
Mr.
questions
Kevin, you
that they
can't keep
have,
cutting me off.
well, ma'am, but the questions that you have with these high value women, if it's not based in reality, then what is it?
It's their reality. You're going by statistics in a book based on a certain audience and a certain
No,
jurisdiction.
ma'am, I'm going by black demo. Okay, so audience, what I need you to do is go back to the beginning of the broadcast when I said my truth and subjective and subjective truth. Let's also talk about two things that I'm going to bring up on YouTube. Black folks, knock this bullshit off about subjective truth.
Please.
Subjective truth. I actually heard a woman say, all truth is subjective. Well, that just shows me you haven't been by a philosophy class. Subjective truth is based off a person's personal perspective, feelings, and opinions. Everything we know is based off of our input, senses, and perception. Thus, everything we know is subjective truth. All truth is subjective. That's a point of view. But it is wholly incomplete. Why? Because the objective truth is things are true based upon being a fact that can be proven true or false. See, what does subjective truth give us? The same thing that gives us something like prosperity gospel does in the church. It means, I actually hear women talk about, well, if that woman thinks she's a 10, who are you to tell her she's not? And to tell her she's a 10 can make her a breaker, and then try to use all these. Look, subjective truth is saying it's basically everybody gets a trophy. When you walk out of your house, that's the truth. You can call yourself a 10 all day, all you want to. In Philadelphia, it's worth $50. See, that's subjective truth, and that my truth bullshit has done more to keep you ladies single than anything else. Because you can sit back and say, it's my truth. It's my truth. It's my truth. Audience, I want you to go back to the beginning when I said my truth and subjective truth versus objective. Your godfather is right again.
The godfather.
Because you're talking this, you going on. So basically, that's white man statistics. Black demographics are black with statistics by black people for black people. See what it is, man, is you and so many women have so little regard for black men's image. Listen.
Okay, I'm listening.
Because if you had high regard, you would want to know what you're saying, even between each other, is accurate, right, factually true, instead of just talking about an opinion because it damages us. When I'm in corporate America and I'm having to listen to what people are saying about us, and they cite black women's issues with us and quote them back to us, I'm like, how can I? Well, what they're saying it about you, it must be true. See, what happens more than anything else, folks? This was allowed to go on in the 80s and 90s, unchecked, unfettered, to where they can just say whatever they want to. That woman said that high-value black men are married out at a rate of 80% with nothing. You're the college-educated black woman. And I'm like, these are my critics. Even the people that say they agree, listen to what you're saying. You know those facts and data. Then what the French toast are you talking about? Stop talking about black men, because any other group of people looks at how black women like you talk about black men and say, well, it must be right if their women are saying it, because their women don't talk about them like black women talk about us on it. Because I said it at the beginning, when they're pushed just a little, what comes out of their mouths? My truth. All truth is subjective. You cannot make this shit up.
Right, and so that's my big takeaway, or why I want to show these, is how black women talking about black men like that, when we go anywhere, people think things of us, like he said, like, oh man, they treat you like that? It must be true because the women are saying this. Black men, I've seen reports, mostly here online now, but they say black men make the best, most involved fathers. I don't know if it's the best, but most involved fathers, right? They like to play with their kids the most. They like to help them with their homework the most, all that type of stuff. They like to be around their kids the most, which I love being around my kid. But yeah, women, we can't be talking about things like they're true when they're not. Subjective truth is not the truth. Your truth is not the truth. And then, even if you want, and it's cool to talk about your opinion and say it's your opinion, yeah, go for it. But then to say you don't care about facts, you don't care about stats, and don't care about statistics, and you're going to talk about something, be it black man, be a white man, be it a forest fire, be it a football team. If you don't care about facts, stats, and statistics, you're just going to sound bad. You're going to be wrong 99% of the time. I mean, you could be right sometimes. A broken clock is sometimes. But if you're not using facts, you're rarely going to be right. And you should always be getting your facts from across the spectrum.